Hi everyone, you're watching Tamit Saleh's Tennis Forum, the place to be for all of tennis for the Australian Open and beyond. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button and join our growing tennis fans on this channel. Today we'll be talking about the Australian Open, the first round. As you know, the tournament's kick-started. We've had a look at all the players. The big three have all fairly comfortably qualified for the second round. We've had a few shocks as well. It's not been a great opening couple of days for Canada, especially. Both Felix Auger-Aliassime and Denis Shapovalov out in the first round. Quite disappointing actually, guys. I had quite high hopes for Shapovalov especially. But yeah, we're going to see some donations made by some players and former players and just give a first round recap of what we've seen and what we may see in the future. We've had players self-injuring them whilst, smashing a racket. We've had some quite questionable outfit choices. But yeah, all that is to come. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. So I'm going to start today's video by looking at the poll results. I released a poll a couple of days ago asking who your favourites were for the Australian Open, having seen the draw come out. Unsurprisingly, 50%, well 49% of you guys think Novak Djokovic is going to claim his 8th title. This is over 400 votes came in, by the way. So yeah, 200 votes for Novak. 38% think Rafa. And only 9% think Roger, with the other claiming 4%. Personally, looking at this, it looks fairly right. Probably except for the Roger thing. I wouldn't give him only 9% chance to win the tournament. I think it should be slightly higher and maybe even on par with Rafa. We all know Roger is very accomplished in the Australian Open. So yeah, 9% for Roger is a little bit low, but unsurprisingly, everyone or most of you guys expect Novak Djokovic to claim his 17th Grand Slam titles. So we've seen the big three in play. I'll just quickly talk about their opening round matches, some little stats and facts, and what we could see in the future. So Roger Federer was the first up in terms of the big three, and he played Johnson, a player he's never lost to, and also a player he's never lost a set to, and it was a thorough beatdown of Johnson. It only took Roger 85 minutes to complete his first round match. 6-3, 6-2, 6-2, very comfortable. And a couple of fun facts is this match was Roger Federer's 21st appearance at the Australian Open, which takes him past Leighton Hewitt. So he is now the player with the most ever appearances at the Australian Open. I believe he's also tied for the record at Wimbledon as well, which he will become the outright record holder this year. Federer hasn't lost at a first round match over Slam since 2003. So that's some amazing consistency. And also he is on 98 Australian Open victories now. So only 2 away from the magical 100 number of victories at the Aussie Open. So opening round, nothing really to worry about for Roger. 26 forehand winners, serving great as well. First serve percentage 82%, second serve percentage, and this is probably the more interesting one, 81%. So in the 80s in terms of serve percentages. He had all his kids in the box, which was lovely to see. And yeah, so now he has a 3-love head-to-head against Johnson and still is yet to lose a set. He plays Krajinovic in the second round, a fellow Serbian, or not a fellow Serbian, but a Serbian, fellow to Novak. And yeah, Krajinovic just came through a very tough 5-setter, so I don't really see any problems for Roger in the second round. The next big three member on court was, of course, Novak Djokovic. He played the night session, but living in the UK, it was the morning session. So I can really only watch the morning session matches, or for the UK, so the night session matches in Australia, so I'm getting confused. So I can only really watch them as most of the matches are now happening at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, so it's quite difficult. But luckily, when I wake up in the morning, the evening matches are on around 8 a.m, 9 a.m in UK time. So it's really pretty good for me to watch it or secretly watch it at work. So yeah, Novak Djokovic, he claimed his 900th ATP match win. He becomes the 6th player. It's a very exclusive club. So only Connors, Roger Federer, Ivan Lendl, Rafa Nadal and Vilas I can't remember his first name. Maybe someone could write that in the comment section. Maybe his surname. I don't know. So yeah, he becomes the 6th player with 900 wins. After the match, he was interviewed. He was told about that. He just said, "I'm just getting started," but then he laughed as well. So it's clearly a joke. But it'll be quite interesting to see how many more matches he can get to. I'm pretty confident he'll get to at least 1,000 match wins. But whether he can challenge Roger and Connors for that record, we'll have to wait and see. Novak Djokovic, the only one of the big three that lost a set. He lost the third set 6-2 to Struff. People may look on it and say, "Ooh, he's maybe, you shouldn't be losing a set that early in the tournament." But I mean, by far, Djokovic had the hardest first round opponent out of the top players. Struff, he's no scrub, let's say. He's world number 37, so not a bad player at all. But yeah, Novak Djokovic came through 7-6, 6-2, 2-6, 6-1. Funnily enough, Djokovic actually dropped his serve 4 times, quite a lot of times actually, but it must be said Struff was very clinical on his break points. 4 out of 5 break points converted. One key thing that Djokovic will need to work on is his second serve percentage, only 55%. That's going to have to climb up a lot higher, and he faces the Japanese Tatsuma in the second round. Once again, from Novak's match, yes, he lost a set, but overall he'd be pretty happy with his performance. Second round, I expect him to come through as well. So yeah, should be okay. I must say, out of all the outfits, there are quite funny ones like Dimitrov's and Tiafoe as well. He's wearing the kind of like the bottom half only of Dimitrov's outfit. His shorts is that like weird cow rainbow thingy. So yeah, I really like Novak's outfit. I think that green top is really good, so I might actually buy a Lacoste top now. And then finally, Rafa Nadal, he played earlier on this morning or last night, however you want to see it. Very, very comfortable victory for Rafa. 6-2, 6-3, 6 love. In the first set, actually, he was also 5 love up. And yeah, he actually got broken. Funnily enough, Rafa, he was broken twice in this match. Even though it looks very one-sided, only lost 5 games, but 2 of them were on his serves. The last set, Abegu, Rafa said, "I think the third set was a great set." Of course, no one's questioning that. And he'd like to carry on with that, basically. Rafa's first serve percentage, 70%. Second serve, 73%. One thing that actually stuck out a little bit was, look, we all know Rafa doesn't hit as many aces off his serves, but he hit 5 aces and 5 double faults. So maybe, something to work on in the practice courts. The highlight really, one funny thing in the post-match interview, he was asked, so he was told of all his 2019 achievements, like winning the French Open, winning the US Open, becoming world number 1, winning the Davis Cup with Spain, etc. What was his greatest moment? And he very smartly, it must be said, replied his wedding. His wife was in the crowd as well, and he joked as well that he needs to be careful with these answers. So, great humor there. And Rafa moves on. His next opponent will be Del Bonis, who I also see causing Rafa little to no problems. So yeah, that's the big 3 in a nutshell. Some other notable first round performances. So for instance, Tsitsipas, very comfortable winner. I believe he lost only 5 games as well. The crowd, there's a very big Greek community, it seems, in Australia. So he was getting a lot of the support, and sometimes even quite unfairly whilst his opponent was serving. So, Tsitsipas, good sportsman, he said afterwards that he wants the crowd to maybe calm it down a little bit in terms of being respectful. But on the other side, he also said he wants to hear some new chants. So he's clearly lapping it up. The tie, or some of the ties from the opening round, I said this in my draw video as well. So one of them was Medvedev-Tiafoe. Now, Tiafoe reached the quarterfinals of the Australian Open last year. Very tough tie for him to get Medvedev in the first round. And yeah, of course, he lost. He lost to Medvedev in 4 sets. He did win a set, so a decent enough showing. Medvedev actually said it's the first time in his life that he was stepping onto centre court in the first round of a slam as the favourite. So it was quite a big occasion for him as well. But yeah, he came through and he's looking pretty good. It must be said, all of them are looking pretty good for the title. In terms of surprises, so only 4 seeds, and I say only because I remember Wimbledon last year when seeds were dropping like absolute flies in the opening rounds. Only 4 seeds lost in the opening round, so out of the 32, 28 came through. The highest seed out is the 13th seed Denis Shapovalov. This was a bit of a shock. I mean, it's not like he was playing a nobody. Martin Fucsovics, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But still, you'd expect Shapo to come through. I believe he had some, let's call it tantrums on court as well. He's a player I predicted to get top 8 and qualify for London. So not a great showing. Also, fellow Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime, another poor performance in the slam. There's been a lot of hype around him as well, but he's lost to Ernest Gulbis, also a player with some credentials as well. But yeah, both Canadians out. Also, Pospisil, another Canadian, is out. As you know, in the women's side, the US Open champion Bianca Andreescu was injured, so cannot take part in the tournament. So yeah, Canada is not enjoying Australia right now. Their only hope is Milos Raonic. And yeah, Borna Coric, again, number 25 seed, out. And then Joe Wilfred Tsonga, 28th seed. I believe he retired, but he was losing anyway. Other than that, all the seeds came through, so really good stuff. Fognini, he was almost out as well. So he was 2 sets to love down against Riley Opelka. This was another guy I mentioned in my previous video, in my draw video, saying he could be let's say the rebirth of US tennis, which has been a little flat for the last decade, 2 decades at least. But yeah, Fognini came back. However, I'm going to attach a picture on the screen somewhere. He hurt himself whilst taking his anger out on his racket, so he's unsure as well whether he can play in the second round. It does actually look pretty bad. But yeah, Fognini completes his slingshot slam. He's come back from 2 sets to love down in all 4 slams. Now he's actually done it 3 times at the US Open. And finally, I just want to touch on some notable donations. So after Nick Kyrgios's match, which he won in straight sets, John McEnroe has pledged to donate $1,000 dollars for each set Nick Kyrgios wins from now on. So that's a maximum of $18,000 if Kyrgios wins the entire tournament. Zverev has also come out and said that he will donate £10,000 or $10,000 sorry, for each match win. That could be a huge donation. And he's also said he's himself admitted before everyone jumps on Zverev's back that he's not a favourite to win the tournament. However, if he does end up winning the tournament, he will donate his entire prize money. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, other than that, it's all working out how you'd probably expect it to work out. None of the top 10 seeds are out, so they're all going pretty strong. I don't know how much we can read from the opening round, first round of play. They're all looking fairly good. I think we need to see a couple more rounds to really see how everyone is performing. The 4th round is really where it gets interesting. But as you know, the top players, they won't want to be spending too much energy on court now, so they'll want to wrap things up in 3 quick sets for the first, second, third round at least. So yeah, so tomorrow we are going to have Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer in action, the bottom half of the draw, I believe. And yeah, you'll be getting regular content from the Australian Open. I hope you enjoyed this. As I said before, if you haven't already, then please do subscribe. Let's see if we can get this video 50 thumbs up. I really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm just so excited that the slams are back now. It's really good times, and I'm very glad to have all of you here on the channel as well. Thank you very much.